In today's video, I'm going to take you through how paid ads attribution works so that by the end, you will have an extensive understanding of how to optimize your paid ads for best performance possible. Now, for the past 4 years, I've been working with e-com brands, growing them to multiple 7-figure years with paid media. So the insights I'm about to share right now are implemented by our company who wants advertisements.com on an everyday use. So with no further ado, let's dive straight in. Now, my goal with this video is to actually make something clear. I want to reveal an entire marketing ecosystem specifically for an e-commerce business, but anything shared in this video is going to apply to any other business out there, so I'm just going to make it specifically for e-commerce businesses. Now, when it comes to attribution, everybody wants to claim that the conversion and the sales are their success and they want to take credit for it. And it creates a bit of an unhealthy overlap between each of our platforms, team members, or agencies. And for that reason, I'm just going to take you through how each different channels of marketing interact with each other, all the attribution models, how they overlap, and who's really supposed to have the real conversion. So what I've got here is a table I've labeled marketing ecosystem, and this is the fundamental of truly understanding attribution, okay? So we got paid media, paid traffic, basically the same. We got organic, retention, and conversion rate optimization. Now, these are broad terms, but this is all you need to know for now. Now, why did I position it this way? Well, this is the typical customer journey. Of course, this could be rearranged 100 different ways, but if your customer acquisition is mostly reliant on paid traffic, then this is how your customer journey looks like. Look at this chart from a pre-purchase perspective. You're trying to attract your ideal customers and get more eyeballs on your brand. So how do you do that? You run paid ads. You run paid ads to get more eyeballs on your brand and products. You're literally buying media on platforms for your products to be shown for your ideal customer, and you do organic to make your customers fall in love with your brand. So again, paid ads getting more people to know you, organic for people to fall in love with you. So just keep that in mind, it's really important. So now your ideal customer falls into your ecosystem because after he clicked on one of your ads, aka he had his first touch point with you, he was captured by the pixel, tag, or UTM in case you're using a third-party attribution software, and now he's a part of your retargeting audience. If you don't know what UTMs are, check out this video where I dive deep into an AI-based attribution software, Triple, but I have a whole separate video and I don't want to talk about it right now because we could spend the whole day here in this video. But if you have any issues with attribution or paid ads in general, join my free school community where you have direct access to me and my team to work on resolving your issues. So grab the link in the description below and see you inside. But anyways, from here, there's two paths that open up in front of your prospect. Number one, he follows you. So therefore, he falls into your organic ecosystem as well, thus consuming a lot more content from you, which is great because it all contributes to making him fall in love with you and converting him into a loyal customer. Or path number two, he doesn't follow you, but he is still captured by your pixel and you're still going to stay top of mind by your retargeting ads. So once he's in your ecosystem, the next logical step for him is to take an action on your website or something opt-in related. Now he might get targeted with an ad that is a remarketing ad so that he opts in, or he might have a conversation with you over DM and he opts in some way, shape, or form. Another way is that he ends up going to your website, then he is captured by your Klaviyo's pixel, and then he starts receiving your browser branding emails. So this is where you fall under the retention section. Now, this is technically not fully retention the way I'm explaining it right now because we're still looking at a pre-purchase state, but this is focused on keeping the customer in the loop or your prospect in the loop. Now, we're talking pre and post-purchase flows right here. So this is basically your prospect receiving emails, loyalty offers, SMS, receiving things that are trying to make him push over the barrier to buy for the first time, or that you are trying to get him to buy again. So now let's see how this all relates to attribution. So firstly, let's dive into the paid media. It's divided into two categories. So you have paid socials and paid search. Now, paid social is paid social media. That's like Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, Snapchat, etc., etc. So when you're running ads on social media, your goal here is to create warm audiences, warm customers, and increase your brand awareness, which can later turn to an action. The action can be as simple as an opt-in or a direct purchase, depending on what your conversion goal is. And then you have paid search, where you're leveraging Google, Bing, or other search engines where people are actively searching for something. Now, YouTube is kind of a great area here because it falls into both categories. It's the second largest search engine after Google. But again, I have a whole separate video explaining YouTube ads, so you can check that out right here. So looking at that, on one hand, social is usually CPM based, so cost per minute based. On the other hand, search is CPC based, so cost per click based. Now, what does that mean? On social, you pay per impression. You pay when somebody views one of your ads, On search, you pay per click. You pay when someone clicks on one of your ads. So if your prospect sees your ad, but he doesn't have any intent on clicking on it, you don't pay for it. The reason being, both of these are quite different in nature. Social is a consumption platform. Let's think of Instagram. You scroll through content. So what's valuable in the first place? Capturing and captivating your attention. There's so much content and so much noise out there that your attention is what matters. Therefore, you pay for view, you pay for someone's attention in literal sense. On the other hand, in search, there is intent. People are actively searching for the things they're looking at the moment, meaning that they want to find something specific. And if the content is not relevant to them, then the search is not relevant to them. So just for you to truly understand this concept, because this is really important, the single most important thing that platforms like Meta, YouTube, TikTok want to achieve is to keep you on the platform for as long as possible, because that's how they make their money. The more time you spend on their app, the more ads that they can show you, aka the more fees they collect from marketers. In conclusion, the more money they make from ad fees. So basically, they make more money if you stay on the platform longer, which comes from optimizing the algorithm so that you receive relevant content every single time. Otherwise, you would just leave the platform. Now, this concept is very similar to Google. Google makes money essentially if you have good experience finding the right search result. If you don't find it, or if you find a search result irrelevant, then you don't have a good Google experience, threatening the platform to lose a user. And this is why essentially you are incentivized to pay based on click, which is an action, okay? Which means that if somebody clicks on your ad, then the search was relevant to them, which therefore is a good business for Google. Now, if we go into paid socials even more, this is where it gets exciting, okay? There's attribution windows, which is when you run ads, let's say for a conversion goal, like a purchase or, whatever lead, there's a certain window in time at which the platform will look at your prospect and capture when and if they took an action. And also if that action happens within a specific time period you have set. And based on that, the conversion will be allocated to that specific campaign. Now, these attribution windows are either click or view based, which again depends on the nature of the platform. But in this case, paid social is usually going to have view and click based models, although you can actually limit it only being a click based model. Whereas, for Google and Bing as an example, it's only click based. So just giving a few examples, if I look at Meta by default, it has a 7-day click or 1-day view attribution window. And what that means is this, let's just say your ideal customer sees your ad today. If he sees your ad today, but he doesn't click on it because he wants to check you out on Instagram and Google you up and browse you through your website, or you want to talk to his wife or his kids or whatever, as long as he's making a purchase within the next 24 hours, the conversion is going to be attributed to you. But let's say he viewed your ad 24 hours ago and he makes the purchase decision right now, your ad is not going to get the attribution. Now, the 7-day click is when they actually click on your ad, but it's for a longer time frame. So if your prospect clicks on your ad today, meaning that he went to your website from the ad that you had, then he will be recorded by your pixel or conversion API for the next 7 days. Now, if he takes an action within the next 7 days and he purchases, then the ad will get the attribution as well. Now, this is where it gets super complicated. And again, if you need further assistance, feel free to join my free school community where you have direct access to me and my team to resolve your issues. But jumping back to the topic, within these windows, 24-hour or within the next 7 days, your prospect could have seen other ads from other ad platforms, where he could have seen your organic post as well. So let's just say that he viewed your ad and he decided to follow you on Instagram, and he sees a post from you on Instagram, and then he ends up buying. Well, your ad is still going to get the attribution. And if he, as an example, clicks on your Meta ad today, but then he goes on YouTube, and let's say you also run YouTube ads, he sees your YouTube ad, then he ends up making a purchase from there, both your Meta and your YouTube ad is going to get the attribution. We're talking about channel overlap right now. Now, bear in mind, channel overlap is inevitable, but it does matter how much the overlap is. So you want to minimize it as much as possible. And a great way of doing that is the use of third-party tracking software like Hyros or Triple Whale. Now, another great way to check overlap is post-purchase surveys, which is usually going to be embedded on your thank you page. And that's basically when you ask your customers or your prospects, how did they hear about you? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? Whatever it is, it helps you cross-check your data based on what your ads are telling you and what your users and consumers are telling you. So now, just super quickly, I'm just going to run you through organic. I've picked the main 3 platforms that most people are using as organic channels: YouTube, Meta, and Instagram. So in Meta, basically, you don't have any organic reach. Meta doesn't have any algorithm to really push you to more people. So the only way for you to get pushed, if it's like a text-based post or, like a text and video or text and photo post, if somebody comments or shares your post. If somebody shares your post, then your friends are going to start seeing it, or if somebody comments on your post, then also you might appear on their friends' feed. And if other friends does the same thing, then you appear on their friends feed and so on and so forth. So you get the gist of it. Now, the only way to get reach organically on Meta nowadays is Reels. If you post Reels on Meta Reel, which is not a regular video, it's a different type of video, a Reel will be pushed to new eyeballs on Meta through the Meta Reels feed. And that's how you can reach new eyeballs, okay? Or else there's no really new customers you can reach just like that organically. Now, Instagram is really similar. Reel is the way to catch new eyeballs. Why? Because the Reel is always going to be shown to people you don't follow, therefore it gets pushed to new eyeballs. And that's how people can discover you. And moving on, we have retention. And bear in mind, this is attention retention and keeping the prospect in the loop as we are still at a pre-purchase level. Now, retention takes into account emails, SMS, and loyalty programs, amongst many other things. So let's say if you have an app for your customers, or if you have a group like a community on Meta for your customers, prospects, where you keep them in the loop, anything along those lines is under the retention umbrella. And last but not least, you have conversion rate optimizing, which is optimizing your conversion on your website, okay? So you either make it a better website with a different layout or information, or improving your checkout experience, or looking at your different lifetime value ratios between your products and actually incentivizing people to buy products that have higher lifetime value. Whatever it is, you should always be looking at how you can fully optimize your conversion rate, because it's gonna attribute a lot of success to retaining customers and building a loyal customer base. Now let's look into the platform's attribution that we have here. So Meta used to have a bunch of different attribution models, but as of right now, they're pretty much last click attribution. So what that means is that if your prospect sees your Meta ad number 1 and then Meta ad number 2 within the next 24 hours, technically it falls under both ads attribution window. So the question is, do both ads get the credit if he buys? No. The last ad that your prospect would have seen is gonna get the sale. That's why it's called last click attribution. Now, Google has different attribution models that you can choose from when setting up a campaign. They are first click, last click, linear, time decay, position-based, and data-driven. Now, this is where it gets super complex. For this example, let's just say you're not using a third-party attribution tool like ATTRIBUTION or Hyros, and you're solely relying decision based off of the data that the ad platforms provide. So you're running ads both on Meta and on Google, and I'm going to give you the same example here. So let's just say that you're using a 7-day click or a 1-day view attribution window on Meta, and you're doing something similar in Google. If your prospect sees your Meta ad, and then he also clicks on the ad at the same time when he receives it on his newsfeed, and tomorrow he also clicks on your Google ad, like a Google search branded ad that you're running at the moment, and he clicks on your Google ad as well, both ads will get the conversion. It's because Meta doesn't see what happens outside of their platform and vice versa. Either one of them gives a single solitary fuck about what other ads you click or take a look at. All they see is that your prospect clicked or viewed your ad and they want to take credit for that. It's that simple. Then you might say, okay, I'm just gonna advertise on one platform and problem solved. Well, don't do that. Omnichannel presence in digital marketing is the single most important accomplishment you want to establish. The real solution to not working with limited and unreliable data is using ATTRIBUTION or Hyros. And if you're rolling your eyes right now, let me put it this way. Let's say you're working with 2 different agencies, all right? And they're both charging you commission based on what they're making you back on the ad spend. Where there's a lot of sales that one agency gets you, that the other agency also gets, and there's an overlap. From ATTRIBUTION, I can see that on average, our clients have about 10 to 25% overlap between Meta and Google. Now, it may not seem big, but when you're paying commissions to both agencies, both taking credit for the same sale, think about it for a minute. So let's just see how ATTRIBUTION will solve this problem. The platform works as a middleman. They're non-biased. They don't have affiliates. They don't have affiliate with Meta. They don't have affiliate with Google. They're not affiliated with anyone. So they look at all your channels and they track a customer across all these channels with their customer journey. From the very first touch point, which basically your prospect clicked on your ad, ATTRIBUTION captures the customer and follows him wherever he goes. Now, again, I have a whole separate video dedicated to explaining ATTRIBUTION, so you can check it out right here. And again, ATTRIBUTION is just for Shopify stores, but the concept in this video works for agencies, it works for coaching businesses, it works for real estate businesses. It doesn't just work for e-commerce. So if you're running any other business, check out Hyros. If you're a Shopify, specifically Shopify e-commerce, check out ATTRIBUTION. Anybody else, check out Hyros. Now, you can find a link to them in the description below. This is not a sponsored video. However, I have affiliate links with them. So if you want to get a discount when signing up or you want to support me and the channel, feel free to use the links. If not, just go ahead and use the browser to look it up yourself. So going back to our example, if your prospect saw your Google ads today and also your Meta ads today, both of them receiving credit, how does Tripwell take this into account? Well, it has their own attribution model. So for example, you could select last click within Tripwell, and in the example I just gave you, if you choose the last click in Tripwell, your meta ad won't get the credit at all, and Google will be only getting the credit on your Tripwell dashboard. So therefore, if you have two agencies working together for you, you can actually split the commissions properly. But then yet again, you might ask, is it truly right? Who's there to say if one agency got the conversion, the other did not participate in the sale at all? Well, that's a really good question. And that's why Tripwell has an attribution model called Total Impact, which aims to solve this issue specifically, all right? So Total Impact is basically a model that looks at all the attributions you get from the ads. And it also looks at your post-purchase surveys that you're getting, and then through their own pixel and algorithm, they will distribute evenly on the ads that have the most impact on the customer journey. So this is probably the most fair way to split the conversions. But bear in mind, attribution is not a clear path. It's not like a black or white situation. It's not like this is your sale, this is my sale. It's just very intertwined, which is why at scale, and this is really important, this is why at scale, businesses cannot just look at return on ad spend. This is why I've been emphasizing this so much, that return on ad spend is not your ultimate metric that you want to look at all the time. Because with our example from earlier where your prospect clicked on both your Meta and Google ads, both of those are going to look like they have an amazing return on ad spend, okay? So let's just put it this way. Both are going to look like they have the same return on ad spend. So based on that information, you're going to conclude that, oh, I should invest into both. But in reality, your customer came from Meta captured the purchase intent, but Google brought it home, which is why if you only look at return on ad spend, it doesn't make sense. From a return on ad spend perspective, both those are going to tell you that you should invest more into either of them. And you're like, oh shoot, yeah, of course, I'm just going to put more money into it. Now, what you're going to notice after a certain time is that a lot of people have their first encounter with their brand from Meta. And Meta, what is really drives new customers? Google is just bringing the purchases home, which is why naturally speaking, Google isn't as scalable as Meta is. And that's just like a rule of thumb. Google isn't as scalable as Meta is because Google is intent-based. I'm not talking about YouTube here, I'm talking purely about search. YouTube is a completely different story. So just purely talking about search at this point, if there was not enough search volume for you, you have to create that search volume from somewhere. To create that search volume, people have to come from somewhere. They have to have the interest and intent into whatever you're selling. And they get that interest through social, which is always why you can invest more to social than search. But then again, most small businesses are still wondering where should they invest. Look, there's one place to allocate your budget, and that's paid social. It's always going to be much more scalable than paid search, always. So now when you look at attribution models, this is where it gets super complicated, but just bear with me. It gets complicated when there's different touch points or different teams involved. Because if there's different teams involved right here, all the sales get diluted. It becomes really hard to understand and see where the sales are coming from. So let's say you got a Meta ad agency, you got a Google ad agency, both are showing growing return on ad spend, both are taking 10% of your sales, and both are taking 10% of the same sale now. And this is not even the craziest part, okay? So let's just say you have a Meta ad agency that, runs your ads, and your prospect clicks on your ad today. Tomorrow they sees your ad from your Google ad agency, and your prospect clicks on that too. And then he goes into your website, adds something to the cart, but he doesn't purchase. So therefore, he gets an email the next day from your email team saying, hey, finish your purchase. And then he finally clicks on the email and makes the purchase. Your Meta ad agency is going to get the credit, your Google team is going to get the credit, and your email guys are also going to get the credit for the same sale. And all of a sudden, you've got a triple duplication of the same sale. So what the hell are you going to do now? Well, this is exactly why you should invest into a third-party attribution software, or look at your total store revenue, and then you start distributing that revenue or profits between your different partners. And again, this is why return on ad spend is so unrelated, because it becomes irrelevant when you look at the top picture. It is relevant on a channel basis, but as a business owner, it's not relevant at all. In the same way, cost per lead is irrelevant if you look at the entire business. You have to look at everything else in the funnel to holistically make a decision about how you're paying different people in your team or in your whole organization. Well, Tripwell has Total Impact, which splits that conversion across your different teams. So it's really helpful. There's other alternatives with Hyros, as they have their own model as well, which you can see the entire customer journey with. And this is really important. The reason why I'm making this video is because you cannot claim that the conversion is yours. You also cannot claim that the conversion isn't yours. So you can't just go, hey, this is my agency's conversion, or this is not our agency's conversion. Everybody most likely paid a role into it. Your Meta, Google, organic, email, everyone played a role into it, which is why you either have to compensate people on a global basis. So net profits, revenue, total impact, etc., etc. But the easiest solution for you to make this work is to have as few teams as possible. So one agency or less team. But again, in that case, you're going to be working with a generalist who doesn't really have the best skills possible. But it just becomes really, really hard to understand and track after a certain time. And you're just always going to experience that. For example, whenever you launch a new email campaign, suddenly that day your ad results go up. Why? It's normal. Your prospect is in a 7-day click or 1-day view basis, and a lot of these people clicked on your ad within the last 7 days and they never purchased. And when they finally receive your email campaign, bam, bam, they light up and they finally make the purchase decision. So all the platforms where the attribution window is still open for your prospects will receive credit for the conversion. And that's exactly why at Scale we're looking at blended metrics. Blended return on ad spend, total impact, marketing efficiency ratio, etc., etc. Have they increased? Have they decreased? And basically this is all the things that you want to take a look at to identify patterns and basically get an overall view of how things are doing between your teams and the management. Now, if this was too fast for you, again, I'll leave the link down below for you to join the free school community where you have direct access to me and my team to resolve any business and paid advertising related issues. So you can check this out down below. And also, if you want to work with our team at the agency, feel free to book a demo. I hope this was valuable. See you guys in the next video. Cheers.